Have you ever heard a sound that broke you? Not a scream or a crash, but a whisper? My moment came on a Tuesday, under the sterile fluorescent lights of my own kitchen. My 5-year-old son Leo was showing me a drawing he'd made. It was a mess of crayon stick figures, me, him, and my wife, Sarah. But there was a fourth figure, a tall man with a yellow scribble of hair. "Who's that, buddy?" I asked, my voice light. Leo pointed a chubby finger. "That's Mommy's special friend Mark," he said, his voice pure and innocent. "He gives Mommy grown-up hugs when you work late." The refrigerator hummed, the clock on the wall ticked. And in that deafening silence, my world fractured, and my son had just told me something so innocent, yet it broke my heart in half. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my everything. We met in Chicago, 2 kids fresh out of college trying to make a life. I was a junior architect, she was a firecracker in a PR firm. Our life was built on a foundation I thought was solid granite. Late-night talks, shared dreams, the birth of our son. I was the loyal, steady husband. I worked hard, provided a beautiful home in Lincoln Park, and loved her with a quiet intensity I thought she cherished. But something had shifted over the last year. It was subtle, like a change in the air before a storm. The strange behavior started with her phone. Was suddenly glued to her hand, angled away from me, its screen glowing at 2 a.m. in the dark of our bedroom. When I'd ask who she was texting, she'd wave it off. "Just work, honey." A crisis with the new campaign. Then came the late nights, the client dinners that stretched past midnight. I'd call the restaurant, and they'd have no record of her company's reservation. The receipts I found were for places she never mentioned, a quiet bar on Rush Street, a boutique hotel in the Gold Coast. She became cold, a stranger in my bed. Her touch, once warm and familiar, felt like ice. When I tried to talk to her to bridge the growing chasm between us, she turned it on me. "You're being so needy, Alex," she'd say, her voice dripping with a new kind of manipulative cruelty. "Can't a woman have her own life? You're suffocating me." She and this ghost, this Mark, they felt untouchable. They were living a life in the shadows of mine, and the arrogance of it was a constant dull ache in my chest. The breaking point wasn't just Leo's drawing. It was the accumulation of 1,000 tiny cuts. It was the night I came home early to find the house empty, a faint scent of unfamiliar cologne hanging in the air. I walked into our bedroom and saw 2 wine glasses on the nightstand, one with a faint lipstick stain that wasn't her usual shade. I fell to my knees, the architectural plans I was holding scattering across the floor. The weight of it all, the lies, the gaslighting, the sheer disrespect crushed me. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was humiliated, a fool in my own home. That night, something inside me hardened. The loyal, loving husband died on that bedroom floor. In his place, a cold, strategic man began to take notes. The revenge would not be loud or explosive. It would be a quiet, systematic dismantling of the world she thought she controlled. I started gathering proof. I wasn't a spy, I was an architect. I build things, I understand structures, and I was about to deconstruct her life brick by brick. I installed a keylogger on the family computer. I read the emails, the gushing, sordid messages between her and Mark, a finance executive from a rival firm. They mocked me. They called me the boring, predictable husband. They planned their future in my house, with my money. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who followed them, documenting their lunch dates that turned into afternoon check-ins at the Langham. He gave me a folder thick with photographs, images of my wife kissing another man, her face alive with a passion I hadn't seen in years. Each photo was a nail in the coffin of the woman I once loved. I set the traps, both legal and social. I met with the best divorce attorney in Chicago, a shark named Ms. Albright. We structured everything. I moved our joint savings into a protected trust account, legally. Under the pretense of a long-term investment for Leo, I documented every lavish expense. Sarah charged to our shared cards the designer bags, the spa days, the business trips that were romantic getaways. The final trap was social. Sarah was the chair of a major charity gala, an event she'd been planning for months. It was her crowning achievement, the peak of her social climbing career. All of Chicago's elite would be there. Her firm's CEO, her clients, her so-called friends. Mark, her smug lover, was on the guest list. The night of the gala arrived. Sarah was radiant in a backless emerald gown, a queen in her castle. She floated through the ballroom of the Four Seasons, greeting people, her laughter echoing. She had no idea she was walking into an execution. I played the part of the doting husband, smiling by her side, my heart a block of ice. At the peak of the evening, during her keynote address, the trap sprung. As she stood at the podium, thanking everyone for their generosity, the large screens behind her, meant to display a slideshow of the charity's work, flickered, and then it began. The first image was a photo of her and Mark, clinking champagne glasses on a hotel balcony, the Chicago skyline behind them. The date and timestamp were in the corner. The room fell silent. Sarah's smile froze. Then the next photo, the two of them kissing passionately outside a restaurant on Randolph Street. Then another, and another. Text messages appeared, projected for hundreds to see. "Can't wait to get rid of him," one of her texts read. "He's so clueless." Mark's face went white. He tried to shrink into the crowd, but all eyes were on him. Sarah stood paralyzed, her face a mask of horror. The final slide was a simple, cold legal document, the petition for divorce, citing adultery, with a motion to grant me full custody of our son due to moral turpitude. I didn't have to say a word, just stood there, watching her world burn to the ground. She was ruined. Her career, her social standing, her reputation all turned to ash in a matter of minutes. She was fired the next day. Her friends abandoned her. The court proceedings were a formality. Ms. Albright used the mountain of evidence to leave her with nothing. She lost the house, her savings, and most importantly, she lost Leo. The court granted me sole custody. Last time I saw her, she was a ghost of the woman she'd been, her arrogance replaced by a hollow emptiness. The ending wasn't a celebration. It was quiet, cold, and heavy. I won, but what had I really won? Had my son, my home, my integrity. But the warmth of the life I'd built was gone forever, replaced by a chilling silence. Sometimes late at night I look at my son sleeping, and I remember his innocent drawing. I know that some things once broken can never be truly whole again.